Lovely. So excuse the little red lines. If I put it in full screen, I lose my cursor and then I'll be in trouble. So I'm going to keep it like this as long as everyone can see it. I'm going to read through everything. I appreciate sometimes the issue people have on the theory is the reading. So we're going to go through what options you've got, but also put it in writing so that people can have a look through it as we go. You've got something to look at that's not my ugly mug. Okay, so um, Annie's in the room. Hopefully you can see her. I was going to see whether I can pin you to the top, but I'm not sure if I can. Let's try. See if that works. I don't know if it does or not. I haven't used that bit before. So Annie does TikTok as theory test practice, and has created an awesome course, which really breaks things down. And we're going to pop in the chat window. We'll make sure it's in there by the end. The link to that if anyone wants to have a look at it. It's loads of stuff, all broken down, making it super easy for people to work it through. She does. Correct me if I'm wrong, Annie, but Annie is a driving instructor trainer, which I am also, and that is a job that nobody wants. Creating driving instructors is fun, and then something that the country needs more of, which is theory trainers, dedicated theory trainers. And as we're going to have a look at, as a country, we're not very good at the theory test, so we need to work on that. And she's helped hundreds of learners like you to achieve both safety and success with the theory test. I do one-to-one theory training using Zoom, so this is why I should be better at it than I am, because I use it every day. And I've done some fun stuff as a driving instructor. I've worked with James May, done bits on TV, so I'm kind of used to being in front of a camera because I always end up there. I am now a specialist theory trainer, so I got rid of my car. Don't have a teaching car, and I just do theory. So I also get the pleasure of consulting with the DVSA. So they are listening to us. They're just not changing anything yet, but we're working on it. And Annie and I will keep banging on their door until they have a meeting with us and actually listen. So thank you to everyone for turning up. It's really appreciated. Appreciate your time. We're going to give you some helpful hints and tips and go through some bits that you ask us questions about. And in exchange, we're going to have a few questions coming up. You can see the blue boxes appearing down the side that we just like a bit of feedback as to what you need and the situations you're finding from your end, because we start dealing with people once they're looking at the theory test. We don't necessarily see the journey up to then, and too often people find us after they've failed, and we'd rather that you found us before you fail, so that you can pass first time, which would be awesome. But sadly, as a country, we tend to take a just keep studying approach. As it says here, the theory isn't easy. It's actually proving for a lot of people to be difficult. The pass rate is appalling, and I don't think that someone else just joining. I don't think that is anybody's fault who's taking it. I think that it's just not a very well done test. Public kind of approach to the theory is very much about the kind of public perception of theory is use the apps, just revise, and you'll get there. How can you revise what you haven't learnt yet? So we miss out the learning bit. So that's something that Annie and myself, totally separately, have identified about. It's about understanding, and that's because we teach, and that's where the understanding comes from. So what we want to do is to get people looking before doing revision, focused on the learning and working through from there. So first of the questions, this is where you get to do some of the hard work. How many tests have you taken, and what did you use to study? If you know the name of the app, brilliant, pop it in. If you don't, then please feel free to just put app. But app's website, Annie's course, those that have already discovered it, and or Annie on TikTok, because she's on there 24/7. She doesn't sleep; she's just on TikTok. Any books, because we still have them, and there's some quite good ones out there actually. The latest DVSA one, it's the only DVSA product I like, and it's got QR codes and things in it, and it's not bad, but it still focuses on revision. So it would be nice if we had some more learning happening. So we've got Ryan says he's done his 4 times. Karen is asking about how to approach a question. We'll come to that. 4-in-1 revision app. Yeah, 5 times. Yes, lovely. So if you think of any apps that you've used, if you can pop them in there, because that really helps us know what people are looking at and how they are learning. And the good news is that you have all discovered Annie's course, because that's what we're going to talk about, and the ones that are available as well. So hopefully that's going to help in itself. So with the apps, they're not all good. They all tend to have the same question. A lot of people spend a lot of money buying multiple apps. That doesn't necessarily help, because they have the same revision questions from the DVSA, and what they don't have is the information behind them. I always say to people that when you're doing the theory, they ask you the exception to the rule, not the rule, because that's when it goes wrong. So if you don't know the rule that's behind it, that can often cause you a problem. So people learn the questions and answers, but then they're surprised on the test because the question's a bit different, the wording's a bit different. And if you don't understand the subject or the wording, that can make it really difficult for you. And what I hear most is people didn't know where to start. They knew they had to do this thing called the theory, but they didn't know quite what it was, and they didn't know what they needed to do. And sadly, and we're working on it, but sadly, a lot of driving instructors kind of go, yeah, just do your theory and then we'll focus on the driving bit. And we need to be more engaged than that, or we need to be pointing people in the direction of people who do the theory and make that available. So, that's really, really important, to kind of address this, the subjects that are in there and the wording that is used for them. So if anyone has a driving instructor, be interested to know if they do offer help, whether they do actual theory training with you, whether they just tell you to revise, whether they don't mention the theory except for the fact it's there and have you done it yet, or if you haven't got an instructor. As I know, especially at the moment, COVID-wise, if you can pop any answers in the chat box. But with COVID, sorry, it's weird. I normally hear Annie saying that bit about putting it in the chat box, and it just threw me for a second. So with COVID, people are doing their theory before lessons. If people then struggle to pass, you don't want to be having those lessons necessarily while you're waiting to get there. So Ben says, just keep practicing the theory. We're going to mention about that. Just keep practicing in a moment. So yeah, it's really important that we recognise that people aren't necessarily going to be having lessons. So that's where self-study, when you can do it at home, watching the videos or going through the questions is really helpful. But sometimes just finding, letting someone in. Sometimes finding the answer, finding the hidden bit behind it is what's really important. Okay. So I was just interested in what's in there. Yes. Now, so we find that a lot from instructors. That the instructors. Yeah, I think a lot of instructors are worried about teaching it. Oddly, that they don't necessarily understand it. I speak to a lot that don't know what's behind the theory. So that's where we want to make sure that you are informed. So something I get asked a lot is about the additional help. DVSA call it additional accommodations, which if you have to phone them up does sound like you're booking a room in a hotel. I don't know why they call it additional accommodations. It's the DVSA. I think they just have to find a posh title for everything, but basically it's extra help, and that's what we're looking at. So with the voiceover, set of headphones, and you hear the question. A lot of the apps are different to the actual test. You hear the question, then you hear the individual answers, and on the actual test you click on the individual answers to play each one, which is good if you want it repeated. Be aware, lots of different voices. It can go from male to female. It can go from somewhere down south to somewhere up north, and the accent can jump around. So because of the change of voice, some people find that a little bit off-putting. So just be aware. You can repeat the answer, the question and the answer. You can get it to play it again, but that is something that they are aware of. That bit you get for free, not a problem at all. You just ask it and request it when you book, and they've just changed the booking. It asks you up front if you want the additional accommodations, which is great. However, the rest of them, be aware there's a hell of a wait at the moment. It's a really long time. It says on there that you should hear within a week, and it's taking a lot longer. Everything's been delayed and it's slowed down. So they are working hard to try and address these, but you will have to. There we go. You will have to request. You have to request the additional help, and then the DVSA gets in touch with you and they ask you for evidence of the fact that you've got reading issues, understanding issues with the questions. So you need to provide some kind of evidence. Extra time is what it says. They do it in percentages. Don't know why. So you get 25%, 50%, 75%, or 100% extra time. There's a clock in the corner. Ignore it. It really puts people off. They watch it ticking down rather than reading the questions. Then there's a separate room, so you can request that. The issue with that is availability, especially post-COVID. A reader and or recorder. Now, you definitely used to have to request both of these if you wanted them. So someone to read the question out to you, a human being to read out the question for you, and to record your answers. I think, looking at it, I haven't had one booked yet because of the delays, but since the changes, I think they've realised that people always want both. So we're going to wait and see what happens there. And then the big one is an oral language modifier. Now, you definitely need some evidence to get one of those. They are most often allocated to people who are really struggling with the wording and the understanding of the question. So it's not about the language; it's about the actual understanding of what those words mean. So oral language modifier, OLM, which is what everybody calls it because it's shorter, is someone who can reword the questions and possibly use diagrams as well to demonstrate what that question is asking. They don't give many of those out, so you are always welcome to try and apply, but don't be surprised if you don't get one. Much more likely to get the extra time and possibly the reader recorder. Knowing what you can get is really useful because then we can train you in a way that works around that. So that can be really helpful. So which bits do you struggle with? I know some people have already said that it's understanding of the actual questions. So I think that's where a lot of people have that issue. But I find that that's very often coming from not having the bit of knowledge that you need, which is where, say, Annie's gone through and made life nice and simple and broken it down. I think in 10, I don't know if it's 10, is it 10 points on all of your sections in your course, or is it just the ones that I looked at happen to be 10 on your worksheets?
For the no, it's not all 10.
Okay.
The
I must have just picked the ones that were.
It's around about there, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, which is impressive. Getting all of those questions squashed down to nice, easy to understand facts.
Yeah.
I think that all helps condensing things down, because there's so much to learn otherwise. Someone else said where to start. I would 100% start with the learning. A lot of people are told read the highway code. It's the worst book in the world to try and read. It's great dipping into it, but it's not a reading book, and it doesn't cover everything. It doesn't explain things. So just trying to work it through. If you're not a book person, I'm not at all. I don't enjoy reading in anything. I avoid it whenever I can, and I only listen to audiobooks. But yeah, if you're not a book person, then I say video course. If you know someone that has one of those, So yes, that's definitely something to have a look at. So if anyone else thinks of a subject that they're struggling with, anything like that, let us know. Pop it in the chat box. So I always start with what they don't tell you. We drive on the left. Now, the number of driving instructors that don't even mention this on their lessons, there's just this kind of, we position here. We drive on the left. It's the rule. Everything's based around it. And we drive clockwise, not just roundabouts. But if you go into a car park, it's nearly always clockwise or it's signposted. Going into a petrol station, onto a forecourt, it's clockwise. If it's not, it will be signposted otherwise. So really important to have that picture in your head, so that when you're trying to translate these words to a picture, then translating those words into a picture is much easier if you've got this left-hand system and clockwise. For those of you that are not good with your lefts and rights, and most people know about putting your finger up so you can check. When there's a question that's got a left and right, double check yourself. So often it's getting them mixed up. So do double check yourself on those. You're on a single carriageway unless told otherwise. So a single carriageway is a normal road with no barrier down the middle. And motorways are not smart. They talk about smart motorways, but there's this assumption that it's a not smart motorway when they just talk about motorways. And that all motorways have 3 lanes, which if you've been on one, I know lots of the country don't have them. But if you've been on one, sometimes you get 6 lanes. There could be lots. So DVSA motorways, 3 lanes. Hard shoulder and 3 lanes. So yeah, just general approaches. Having these general approaches really helps, because then when you get the right picture, if you start with the right picture, you're more likely to get the right answer. And then anything else will end in a full stop. What I mean is, with the question, if there's an addition, so if it's a smart motorway, it'll say firstly, if it's a motorway, it'll say you are on a motorway, full stop. You are on a smart motorway, full stop. Nobody is injured, full stop. That extra information people miss. They go straight for the question. So, hang on. All right, Leanne. I got an icon came up. Just checking. Okay, cool. Um, don't know what was going on there. So yeah, so look for those full stops. Make sure that you are taking that information into account, because the DVSA don't like giving things away for free. Those full stops cost money, so they like to tell you what you need to know, but only if they really have to. So look at those questions. I hope that makes sense. So pop in the box if you've already got Annie's course. It'd be nice to know who's come along that has. And mark it out of 10. Let's see what you think. Caroline hasn't, but so I recommend it. I think it's well worth a look. I think there's some great stuff on there. Great website. Lovely. Havster's got it. Ben hasn't. Probably too late. I think you said tomorrow morning, Ben, didn't you? Yeah, tomorrow morning. Depends how late you want to stay up. But yes, it's and Bradley, yeah, it will definitely help. Definitely help. Breaking things down, making things make sense. You know, we can't just go in with questions, which yeah, I think is too often the case. So, going to move on to some bits about the theory. So I've picked 2 or 3 things that I often teach. Some of it reflects things that I know Annie does on TikTok, because it makes sense, and if it makes sense, then why wouldn't we? Yes, I think. Sorry, Bradley's just saying. You know, if you have special needs of any kind, then breaking things down is really important. And getting it in your language. I think that's one of the problems with the theory, is it's in DVSA speak.
Yeah.
None of us speak DVSA speak. They talk about gradients instead of hills. They go through it. Have you got any favourites, Annie?
I can't think about it now. You're putting me on the spot, but no, I do try and use both words when I'm talking to, so that they understand the topic, and then they understand how they might be asked. So make sure the both are covered. But I get it. Yeah, they definitely have their own language.
You mentioned the other day, actually, just to prove that I do listen.
Yeah.
Studs. And no one knows what studs mean.
No.
There's always a few strange comments when you're talking about studs.
Yeah, there is.
People sort of going, I'm not sure what they mean. And
it's just size, yeah.
Yeah, the cat size. And I can bore you to tears. I can tell you that they were invented in 1835 and that we've never managed to improve on them. They're fascinating things. But I won't, because everybody will leave us. But yeah, the cat size are amazing. Anyway, I won't geek out too much. But yeah, I think, actually, let's go back one. Gradient's one that comes up. Douse. If you need to douse a burn. No one douses anything nowadays. Except for firemen. They might. But yeah, they do use these words that are challenging. Yeah. And, you know, why we can't have it simplistically written out and you know, just use everyday English. Although if a road is well lit, that means something totally different now. So I've got the traffic light up because I know this is something that we both use. Is translating this into these the different studs, cat's eyes, reflectors. I like reflectors. I think it does what it says on the tin then, on the motorway. So red meaning don't go through it, green meaning you can go through it, and the amber one, and amber's a word on its own, which is yellow or orange in driving, and we call it amber. So that's the one in the middle. So we've I've drawn it in lines, coloured lines to make it easier. But this is where the reflectors or the studs would be. And then it comes to the words, and they're not everyday phrases, and I think that makes life really difficult. Hard shoulder is next to the soft shoulder, which is the grass. So you've got the soft shoulder's the grass, the hard shoulder's the solid bit that you can drive on, and it's the bit for emergencies. We then complicate it by talking about smart motorways, and you can drive on it.
Yeah.
So remember that they don't. You don't drive on it except for in case of emergency, because we don't talk about smart motorways unless we say we're talking about smart motorways. The green for the slip road, joining road. It annoys me because I think they use about 3 different phrases for joining roads, entrances, exits. And then this one really challenges people. Central reservation. We just call it the bit in the middle.
Yeah.
The barrier. And yeah, it's the barrier. It is the bit in the middle, but it's the central bit, so the bit in the middle, and it's the reservation because it's reserved. It's kept. It's to keep you away from it. But that being the central light on those traffic lights is really useful. And then I appreciate if people don't like words and don't like spelling and things like that. This doesn't necessarily help, but the question normally has the word motorway written in it, so you have got it written in front of you. Red, white, amber, which is reflected in the colours going across the road. So I think that can help a lot of people, even if you do struggle with words, and if you do, then it's there. If you don't like it, don't use it. Find something else that works. Think about the traffic lights, maybe. The lane markings are the white ones, and if you if you're driving along the road, that helps you know where you are. I've done it in fog where that's all I could see, and that can be really challenging. So yes. Anything to add to that, Annie, or have I done it justice?
You've done it justice. yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Just understanding the words is some of it, isn't it? A lot of it. I say green is where green is for go, and green is where you go on and go off a motorway. That helps some people. Slip road is a funny word, but yeah.
So yeah. You don't want to slip on it.
Yeah.
I think it is those wordings. It's like anything. If it's a subject you know about, you know that there's special words connected with the subject. I was talking to someone about Dungeons and Dragons the other day. I got lost within the first minute because there were all these words that I know the words, but I don't understand them.
Yeah.
The difference between wizards and mages, apparently.
Okay.
I was lost. So learn the terminology, learn the words that are associated with it, and that will help.
I get asked on every live what is a central reservation several times, and as I said, the centre bit, the middle bit, the centre bit, the middle bit. So
you don't want to hit.
Yeah, the bit that separates the traffic. But yeah, I'm because I travelled on motorways a lot when I was very young, so I just knew the word. But if you don't, then you wouldn't know the word. So
yeah, it is, and it's one of those phrases that's quite dated. Reservation. I don't think
not a word
it's used elsewhere nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay. I like this one. The warning triangle. You don't see them as much. People don't have them as much, but it's something you can have in your boot. And if you break down, it's to warn you warn other people of the fact that you're there.
Yeah.
So if you're driving around the corner and there's a broken down car around the corner and it's dark, you don't want it to be a surprise, you can put the warning triangle up to give people the advance warning. So in nearly let people cheat then. In the box, does anyone know what distance you put the warning triangle behind the car? Just out of interest. Annie knows.
I know.
Good. A couple, 45 metres. I partly wanted to ask because I wanted to know if people answered it in metres or feet.
Mm.
It's not 120 feet. It's a little bit more than that. But I never know what these distances mean anyway. 147 feet. Lovely. Good. So I like this, not because of the question and the answer. Keep going, Sandy, a bit higher. 147. Good. Lovely. So yeah, I like this because it's a nice one of you can connect numbers to things. So when you're trying to learn numbers, the good news, stopping distance is not in the theory test anymore. I don't know how many times I've banged my head against the wall trying to train someone in numbers that they're probably never going to need.
I devised this really great technique to help people playing around with numbers, and then they take it out.
All the work.
Ages
all
to do.
Work.
And it worked. It really worked. And then they took it out.
That's one that I always got people to do with feet because it made so much more sense than numbers. And you don't need to know what they mean. You just got to know the answer for that one. What you need to know is how not to hit something. So be going at a speed at which you can stop.
Mm.
That's it. Mm. All driving instructors will tell you that. Don't hit stuff. It's my rule number one driving. Rule number one, don't hit stuff. Rule number two, be predictable, and then you'll be fine. But we're going to get you through the theory test first. So, not enough people play snooker nowadays, so this example slowly is losing its touch, but it's just a nice way of showing you how. Have a think about numbers and see if there's something that you can work out from there. In snooker, we have a red triangle. The balls placed inside of a frame, which make a triangle. And if you can clear the table, including all of those balls, and get the maximum score, it is a 147 break, and it's 147 feet that you have to put that behind, which is, because I measured it myself, that is the distance in the picture. So it is a good length down a road. We did struggle to find a nice straight road that we could stand on and take a photo without getting run over. So yeah, placing that behind the vehicle. So 45 metres or 147 feet. Now, if you can't remember that, some people don't like numbers. The number ones can be a real challenge. What I love is they give you a clue in the answer. It's the only answer that you will have out of the four that have got two triangles hidden inside of that answer. I don't know if you can see them there. Inside the fours. So if you can't remember it, and I question whether it's the most important bit of road safety for you to remember. There's other things like the 2-second rule. I'd much rather you remembered that. There's the clue. So look for the one, because they'll have the meters and the feet with the triangles hidden inside. So I find that, that's nice. It's almost like it was deliberate.
I like it.
So yes, Sandy, you do need to carry a tape measure, or pace it out. Definitely, because they'll check, they'll make sure. No, they won't. But you need it for your theory test. Okay, and then speed. It's one that I get asked a lot about, different speed issues. People trying to remember one. And trying to remember, what they are. So I always start with there being two. I think this is often the best way. If we're dealing with anything inside of the theory, we start with the rule and then we look at exceptions.
Mm.
When I'm teaching roundabouts on the road, then I'll start with a really simple roundabout, and this is the rule. And then we'll start going, but if this happens, we might do it a bit differently. Are you the same?
Exactly the same, yes. Yeah.
Let's start simply. And it's not for the pupils, it's for the driving instructors. We can't do complicated. We need to simplify everything. And we just pretend it's for you guys. So with speed, there are only 2 speeds. And I always say everything is a fact until we find out it's not. And with the speeds, we've got these 2. So I couldn't curve the edges of this. I tried. I spent ages trying. I gave up. It'll do. So we've got this one, which is the 30 mile an hour sign. Maximum speed, 30. And then we've got this one next to it. And this one confuses people. They're never quite sure what it means. So in my mind, which is a lovely place to visit, but you wouldn't like to live there, if we turn that into a road, we know that a road is 30 miles an hour. Well done, Ben. You're 2 ahead of me. Well done. You're going to be all right tomorrow, I'm sure. So if we put these streetlights, these are streetlights, just to let you know, along the road, that would be a 30 mile an hour road, because we know that streetlights mean 30. Whereas if this is a road without streetlights, that is, as Ben has said, a national speed limit road, which would be 60. So we have 30 miles an hour if there are streetlights, and if there are no streetlights, NSL, it's 60. National speed limit, 60. So both of those are NSL, just to make it really clear, which is a nice way to help remember it. But this isn't the truth. This is breaking it down to make it really simple and having 2 speeds. And we know that there's more than 2. But if you can remember your 30 and your 60, then that's going to really help you on the theory anyway, because they like these 2.
Mm.
And this is when you're driving along and you can't see the sign. There's streetlights, it's 30. Residential areas, people refer to it as residential areas, but actually it's the streetlights that really do it. But if you're in an area with houses, 30 is a nice safe speed. I always say this one doesn't mean 60. The limit is 60. What it means is the speed limit hasn't been set. So we haven't been told to drive at speed. So you drive at what is sensible, and that actually all drivers have managed to achieve that, because otherwise they'd have put a limit in. But for the speed limits themselves, streetlights 30, no streetlights, NSL 60. But there's exceptions, as we said. So if we have traffic calming, speed humps, chicanes, which is the wiggly bit of road where there's barriers on either side. Anyone who's into Formula One will know what a chicane is. Speed humps, chicanes, I'm trying to think of another version. But that kind of thing, anything that's designed to slow you down, give ways, priorities, where you're made to stop to let people coming the other way come through. Anything like that, it can be 20. You'll get 20 signs, but you don't necessarily get them between the 2, what we call the gateways, as you go in and out. And actually, you don't have to have a gateway. You can have 1 sign, because that's changed. If there's a barrier, we were talking about a road with a barrier, the motorway. The central reservation is the barrier. That central reservation turns it into a dual carriageway or a motorway. And that barrier makes it 70. Now you'll get roads that aren't 70, but they will have signs, because everything else has signs. So that makes it complicated. To go back to the simple bit, the bit to remember, streetlights are 30, no streetlights are 60, and everything else will have a sign. So look for those. And if we can remember this simple bit, hopefully, if the road planners do their job correctly, we will see enough information around us to know exactly what's going on. The theory test has questions about trailers. Lots of changes going on with trailers at the moment. At the moment, you still can't tow a trailer without taking a separate test, but that's likely to change. So this information is going to be even more important. Take 10 off if it asks you. Now, that's a theory test rule. It doesn't work in the real world because a 30 doesn't become a 20. But if they're asking you the question, there's your answer. Yeah. So you can still know the 30 and the 60 rule. Yeah. And it works. Okay. So over to you guys again. You have the following options. You've got TikTok. You've got the theory test practice course. You've got one-to-one Zoom sessions. How can we, it's my watch talking, how can we help more? Is there anything, any resources that you can't find, that you haven't got? There's lots of apps. I say some are better than others. You want the ones that learn with the artificial intelligence. So they identify what you're getting wrong, because that will mean you have to work less hard. But is there anything else? If there is, pop it in the box, or if you just make a note or take a screenshot of the email address there. If something comes up, then please, I don't know how to get rid of those, lovely. I was just thinking, I'm not sure how I deal with that one. So yes. So we're going to put some links into the text. If I'm not watching the other guy on YouTube, it's not just Pin on YouTube. He's a lovely bloke, but he never smiles. No, he's a really nice guy. But yeah, we'll put the links in, and you can have a look at what you get in there. I do know him. I'm not just slating him. We message each other every now and again. But we'll put the links in. Alan, are you still there? Are you able to post those in for me?
Yeah, I'm here and I can do it. No worries.
Lovely. Thank you very much. And the Zoom sessions would be with myself, and Annie's really busy doing the TikTok and everything else. So I do the one-to-one Zoom stuff, and you can get 3 of those in a package, complete with Annie's course. If you've already got Annie's course, then if you message one of us through, then we can sort that out for you. They are £30 for the hour, and they cover whatever you need to cover. So we can break it down. If you've got Annie's course, which you have, so I think you said you did, then we can also have a look at what you've done on there and kind of go through and use that as part of the resource. So that can definitely work for you. But if you want to chat, get in touch, and we'll have a chat through what's available and what's going to work for you, and see where your issues are. Always happy to do that. Okay. So, thank you very much for. I hope some of that's helped, made some stuff a little bit clearer. I saw Annie making notes, so I must have something really good, really rubbish.
I've got more lesson ideas.
Good. What did I get wrong?
Did you get anything wrong?
That's all right then. Just checking.
It's nice to see how other people explain things, isn't it? Always learning. That's what we want to be doing. Always learning how we can help more.
I always get nervous when people start making notes.
Good notes.
Good. So yes, Caroline was asking. I was just thinking about that. How to approach a question. Annie, do you want to take this one? Because I know you've got the rules.
Oh no, you do it, Chris. You do it. Yeah.
Let me stop the screen share because.
Like that.
So. Read it first. If you've got the voiceover, listen to it. Make sure you know what the question is. people have a habit of jumping to the answer.
Mm.
Look for that full stop. It sounds really, really simple. That is possibly the biggest thing that I discovered when I started doing just theory. I as an instructor, I used to help people. We'd go and have a coffee. People would drive to McDonald's, and we'd sit and go over theory, free Wi-Fi and coffee. Can't go wrong. I thought I was really good at it. And then I started just doing the theory, and I realised where people were going wrong across the board.
Mm.
And reading the question, knowing what the question is so important. And people would skip that first bit of the sentence. And they wouldn't realise quite how important that is. So, it's just about making sure you're answering the right question. So read it, make sure you are, then go to the answers, and then the one of Annie's rules: look for the two that are rubbish answers.
Yeah.
Is it rubbish? Do you use the word rubbish?
I use the word rubbish. Get rid of two rubbish answers, and then don't look at them again. Stop going A, B, C, or D, A, B, C, or D. Just go, I know it's not B or D. Is it A or C?
You tie yourself in knots, don't you? And you end up second guessing yourself otherwise.
You do, especially when there's an awful lot of words. So yeah, I do go with it. Read the question twice. Make sure and then think about what the answer is without looking at the answers. What do you think the answer is before you actually read the answers, and get rid of two rubbish ones? I've got too much to say, sorry. Get rid of two rubbish answers. But your idea of the what I've got up there is a really good one as well, which I've not written a lesson out.
Shall I reveal what you've got up there?
Go on, you go.
Yours are better than mine.
I know, mine have got smiley faces.
You've got smiley faces. I have this.
Chris's idea. Yeah, go on. You can explain it.
I nicked them off my mum. I was walking past and I suddenly went, oh, I need those. And these are made of wood. Mine
are squeaky, I'm afraid. Dog toys is all I could find.
I like them. I think they're really cool. It is a case of looking for pairs. So if you see higher and lower, it's probably going to be one of those two. Looking for maximum, minimum. With maximum, minimum, maximum is hot, minimum is cold. So maximum will be the red, minimum will be the blue. That can help, because I think people get that mixed up sometimes. She's grabbing a pen again.
I
am. The temperature gauge. I found that by accident. I think I was working with Sandy at the time, and I suddenly went, oh, that works. That can help. But yeah, the pair of answers, the two that aren't any good, and I think then make sure that you are looking for the safe answer.
Yeah, and I do that as well, don't I? Safest option. It's always going to be the safest option, isn't it? In the theory tests, it's always going to be what is safest.
And you do you. It's not about other people. So it's always you do you. You can't let other people do something, and you can't tell other people to do something. That's not your job. You're not a police officer. Absolutely. They can direct traffic. Two people can direct traffic. Theory test question. Police officers and traffic officers, they can direct traffic. You're not allowed. So don't pick the answer that does.
Yeah.
Habsa would like to know when you're going live tomorrow, because I believe you've got a whole day.
If my voice held out, I'll be at 8, 11, 4 and 7 if I manage it.
That is a marathon. Yes.
We'll see what
I might have to clear my schedule and watch.
Something else I say with the question and answers is to trust yourself. People don't trust themselves. They don't trust their unconscious mind, and they change the right answer to the wrong answer because they reread and reread and reread. If you've been through the theory, you've been through the courses or whatever, you often do know the answer. So it's trusting yourself, I think, is quite important.
Definitely. Habsa's asking about what would, I'm assuming that's me on a one-to-one, be teaching, which topics. I actually end up not teaching the topics because what I tend to find is, and this is really common with people who get 1 mark below, and they keep getting 1 mark below or missing out, is it's about the understanding. So we tend to end up going through questions and looking at the words and making sure you understand the words. So that brings it away from the topic slightly to kind of driving language. No, it's all right. It wasn't that. What are you doing tomorrow? Are you covering everything?
Yeah.
On your.
I'm doing all the classes that I have written so far. I will all the lessons I've written so far. I will deliver tomorrow.
Then I'm definitely tuning.
I've got more to create, but the ones that I've created, they're coming out.
So
whose crazy idea was it to do all day tomorrow?
I think it was yours, Alan.
Everybody needs to turn up just to keep Annie company. Ryan, do you want to unmute and ask the question, or do you want to? You want to ask it after? Sorry, I've just seen that. Yes, that's fine, no problem at all. So, anybody else with a question that they want us to answer? If you want to unmute and ask it, feel free. No, I think we're good.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
So I have a question.
Go for it. What's your question?
So next Tuesday is my theory test, but the worst part is because I know it's in Tuesday, but I don't know what time. I don't know where to go. And they said that when I booked it myself, and they should have sent me like email with my reference number. But I checked like 20 times or more. I didn't find it, and I don't know what to do. I've tried to contact the DVSA, but no answer.
You can't because you're permanently on hold. The best time to check with the DVSA to get hold of them, they say, is if you phone at 8 o'clock first thing in the morning. However, you can go to gov.uk /check-theory-test, which I'm just about to post in the comments. Bear with me.
I think I've tried to do that, but they want the reference number.
They shouldn't need a reference number for the theory test one. That should be able to work off of. I'm just going to click it. Should be able to work off of just your driving license number. So let's have a look. No, you're right. It's saying contact DVSA.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? Because if you don't know when your test is.
Yes, exactly. Because it's my first time and I didn't know I needed the reference number because I would have like.
Are you on Twitter?
Don't know. Yes.
Go on to DVSA on Twitter and send them a tweet. They're quite helpful. They're not as helpful as they used to be. They used to be able to do everything, and they were my secret weapon, and I never told anyone about them because they were really useful. They moved tests and all sorts, and everybody else was hanging on the phone, and I was just tweeting away. As long as you can do it, and only ever direct message them just to have said it. Your details, license details, and such. Only do it via direct message. Don't stick a post up. But yeah, ask them on there, and tell them that you're having this issue. Include in your first message to them. Include your driving license number, your name, your date of birth, and your address. Because then they've got everything. They can't come back to you, and that will double the length of time it takes for them.
Yeah.
To deal with it.
Okay. What will happen if I like missed it?
You'd lose your money, and then you'd have to rebook. So we don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it might just be a case of holding on, and it's really important, I think, for everybody when you're booking the test. I would say screenshot it because then at least you've got a copy of that.
I did, but there was no reference number.
Yeah. So the only other thing, there have been some issues with bookings where they've moved things and there hasn't been an actual booking. I had a client the other day who had that as an issue. So yeah, just I'd hang on, get through to them on the phone. Make sure you're phoning the theory test department because you don't want to then get transferred. and just hang on and hopefully get
How do I do that?
Yeah, if you go to, let me find it because it's quicker than saying it.
While Chris is looking, Gabby, just to double check, have you checked your spam?
Yes, I did. I checked everything.
Okay.
Because the DVSA ones do have a habit of disappearing with spam filters and things. And we want not booking a test, general inquiries. There you go. I would also. Which day is it?
It's third of November. Yeah, I mean,
it might be worth send them an email as well, just in case they get back to you.
I did yesterday, but no answer yet.
They're drowning under the weight of information. So there we go. It's all in the chat. That's the number to call. Go to the theory test department, and they're really helpful when you get through to them.
Yes, I've spoken to somebody today, and they said that they will find ways to tell me my time.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I'd phone back again and ask again, but yes. But try Twitter because they've been really useful.
Okay, thank you so much.
Right. No worries.
Yeah.
I have one question. Is it?
We're in trouble.
Is it easy to find hand adapted driving instructor like Paul?
There's not that many around. I don't know if Annie's got many where she is. There's a few and far between, and working with Sandy on the theory questions, they can be totally irrelevant if you're not going to be using pedals. And you're going to be using hand controls. Anyone who's not familiar, it's a push to brake, pull to accelerate. I think that's the right way around.
No, Paul used to use the thing on the steering wheel. It's like a little button thing.
Yeah, thing to steer. And there's lots of different adaptations. There's rings that you can get, so you could drive with your hands, just your hands. But yeah, trying to find specialist instructors is challenging. But we'll sort that out. So if Paul can't help, then we'll speak to the disability driving instructors and we'll get that sorted. So yeah, but there's not that many around.
Oh, not in Epsom.
Not that I'm aware of, no. But we'll sort something out.
Oh,
we will get there. We will get there. But anyone else with anything that's a pressing question? I'll get Bradley to hang about at the end, and I'll answer your question, or drop you a message.
A couple of points to make is that once we end the Zoom, you won't be able to get to any of these notes. So there's notes in there for Gabby for the DVSA contact details. So anything you need to grab, it would be worth doing now and clicking on those links or screenshotting before we go.
I did my screenshot.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
If anyone gets stuck, message us. We'll send stuff to you where we can. We're as busy as the DVSA, but we try our best and answer the questions where we can. So bear with us.
Is Alan a driving instructor? Because he's got a driving instructor logo on him.
No, I'm just a computer geek. I have to partner. I have to work with driver instructors. So no.
We don't feel sorry for him at all.
No, I just work with driver instructors. But to be honest, I'm hardly good at driving myself, let alone teaching anyone.
I think you'd be brilliant at instructing, but we might find out one day. You never know. So yes. Well, thanks everybody. And Annie, have you got anything you want to add?
I haven't. No, but join me tomorrow sometime during the day on TikTok if you can.
He is on there 24/7.
Sorry,
you are on there 24/7.
Any questions? Get in touch with us. We will try and help. And thank you for joining us. It's been really interesting. And it's really nice to see how another theory trainer works, isn't it, Chris? It's nice to
Annie,
yes.
There is something I see a lot of your TikTok as well as this other guy. But you say that you teach other driving instructors to do driving lessons.
Yes.
Because I never thought that a driving instructor would be having to learn to drive, to be in.
I teach driving. Chris does the same thing. We teach people to become driving instructors. So people that have been driving for a few years, we teach them to become instructors.
Driving instructors have to do their own theory test, which you guys, it's 50 questions. We have 100. And it's split into 4 categories, and you have to get a minimum score in every category. So it's challenging, and it covers not just the stuff that you've got, but it's how to teach.
Yeah, a lot of teaching stuff as well,
and the legal stuff as well.
Car stuff as well, and the hazard perception test as well. That they.
It's and I think one of the big problems is that driving instructors learn to do that on their own. They're left to do it on their own. Again, we want to change that, and that means that the message that gets passed on to learners is just work harder, just revise, and it's not all about that. So anyone who's struggling, it's not you, it's us. We can help. So it's not a perfect system yet.
Yeah, I do say if you've failed and you go home, don't do the same thing again. You do the same thing again often gets the same results, doesn't it? I've been through an app, I've failed, I go back home, go through the app, go and fail again. So try something different, whether that is reading a book, having a course, having a one-to-one. Just do something different to get a different result.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bradley, do you fancy sharing, or do you want to share it?
Yeah, I want to know about Bradley's grandma, what she taught.
Everybody wants to know.
Everyone wants to know what your grandma taught you, Bradley.
My grandma taught me with the road signs that's shaped like a triangle. She says A means warning and O means no. She taught me as me and her because I've been struggling with my theory. So I'll go over my app with my iPad on my phone, and we've got a highway code. If I get the answer wrong, we'll discuss it, and we're like, oh, we didn't know that one. We've been doing it quite a lot. And she's like,
good job.
Yeah.
She's doing actually quite a good job. She helped my grand auntie pass first time with the theory. With me, I'm just hard work because I have really bad understanding with most words. I need extra support because I'm a bit of a special child. So I need things breaking down in a simple way. So my Rad loads of little rhymes with my driving instructor as well.
Brilliant.
I was going to say I've just started trying to write some songs. I've got one for Contraflow, which is going to be Country Roads. So yes, that's the beginning of my writing songs for because someone on my screen, she's that way, but I don't know where she is. But someone keeps saying about how you learn song lyrics really easily.
Yeah,
but you don't necessarily learn facts. I don't know who it was, but
never heard that.
Writing some song lyrics would be good, and it's something I do a lot.
Even little rhymes help as well.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I'm going to do. But brilliant. I love the fact that you're also sitting there and doing it together.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant.
Awesome. I think just finding ways, rhymes work really well. Lots of those things. The triangle, the give way is pointing down because it's at your feet. The warning triangle is pointing up ahead.
I've learned that with my grandma too.
The head one, yeah. If she wants a job, get in touch.
I know, she sounds great, doesn't she?
Yeah,
she's very, very helpful. She's got patience of a saint, she has. And we like to have a laughing joke with some as well. And we're like, oh, we didn't know that one, or we like challenge our brains, see if we can actually figure it out, and we'll go, we'll just go for that one. Oh, we got that one for the app.
You're doing the right thing. You're making it fun. You're trying to find other ways to do it. And you're finding solutions when it doesn't work. Brilliant, awesome. And to say if we can do something to support that, then shout. A nice way to break it down. If you haven't got Annie's course is the worksheets, which will give you and your grandma something to kind of work through. So
with the app, I'm looking to get like 41 on the app, and then sometimes I get 43. It was like the day of my test. It was 29th of September, my test. I got 43 twice. Went into the test room. I got 41. And I cried. I passed my hazard perception. It was a multiple choice question. I cried afterwards. Well, on the app, and then I've got a 43 again.
I reckon it's a really bold statement, and I'm always reluctant to make them, but that it is that margin of the 41s to 43s. You know, that bit there is nearly always down to the wording, and you know, you're saying that you have challenges with that. It's those wordings and trying to sort those out. See if you can get an OLM.
Yeah, it was. I think it was the one with the it's cat's eyes. I struggle with a lot, and then with that one, I'm like, I never knew that. I messaged mum and I was like, Mum, look at this. I've learned something new. She's like, oh my God, I never knew that. So
you're going to make me geek out about cat's eyes again, so we better end that one there. But I'd love them; they're awesome. So I'll do a separate Zoom on anyone who wants to be a cat's eye geek.
I'm up for any Zoom because I like them. It's a better way for me to learn.
By all means, get in touch, and if we can do anything to help, and check out the OLM.
With the rhymes, I've learnt with my driving instructor with the clutch. He taught me sandy hand. When you go to a beach, you can always grab the sand, don't you? Yeah. And with the clutch, when you've got biting point, you've got a steady stream. But the minute you let go, you lost your sand. So I'm driving down road, I'm having sandy hand. And then my grandma taught me only rats belong in the gutter. And then we've had only a fool breaks 2 second rule. And it's just stayed in my head, little simple, stupid rhymes.
The rhymes help. Yeah, definitely.
Rhymes you could make a book, Bradley. You've got so many of these little things.
Well, we need to get
all
you
the
through
stupid
the theory
things stay in my brain.
Theory and the practical, future driving instructor in the making, definitely. Yeah, it's just finding your way of working. I think that's what everyone has to do.
Yeah.
So find what works for you and go run with.
I'm gonna purchase Annie's course at some point when I get paid from work.
I think it worked really well for you, and get that additional help with the support. Yeah. The additional accommodations, and
then one could be off my back for a revising as well.
Well, that's all good. So yeah, wicked. No, thanks for that, much appreciated. So yeah, keep your eyes on the group. If we get an opportunity to do another gathering and go through some bits, we will. And any opportunities that come up, we'll put those on the group on Facebook. We saw this, so all of those things will be on there. And thank you very much for your time. Hope it was worthwhile.